Hey everybody, welcome back to CanHammer, your source for 40k from the Great White North. Today I'm doing a read-along of the new Chaos Space Marines Codex. This has been long awaited, and Chaos fans were hoping that this would be one of the codexes that came out soon after the Space Marine one, and not to disappoint, it was the very next one. This was released simultaneously with the Grey Knights Codex, which I have, but just realized that I got given the French version, so I'm going to have to return that. So that read-along will not be coming back for a few days, but we're going to do this read-along right now. Disclaimer, I'm not a Chaos player. I've never been interested in playing Chaos, although I love the fluff around Chaos. But I'm very happy that Chaos Space Marines is hopefully going to be strong, hopefully as strong as Space Marines. Because the game is always better when Chaos is good and when Orcs are good. So we're still waiting for the Orc Codex, but if this lets people play Chaos Space Marines competitively, I think that's only good for the game, because at the end of the day, that's what the game is about. Man versus Chaos. But let's get started. So again, it's another nice hardcover book with some nice art. It's not embossed and stuff like I'd expected. Even the magazines are embossed, but anyway, it's decently thick. It's about it's a little bit thinner than the Space Marines Codex, but decently thick as well. I've got the index here for comparison. We're going to try and see if we can see a lot of differences in terms of stats and things. I may miss comparisons, of course, because I'm not familiar with a lot of the units in the Chaos Codex as I am with the Imperium stuff. So if I miss some comparisons, then please don't kill me. But it's just due to familiarity. But I will definitely be comparing all the points costs at the end, just like I did for the Space Marine Codex. Alright, we're going to go in here and the usual fluff. So as always, I'm never going to read the fluff, but you're welcome to read it, and I encourage you to read it because it's always good. And there's that famous picture of the Emperor and Sanguinius and Horus on Horus's ship in the final battle. So the one thing you'll notice when you read through here is that Death Guard is not in here. They are literally getting a codex in a few weeks probably. Mortarion was just leaked and he looks badass. And then Thousand Suns is going to be their own codex. I don't know when that's going to be coming out, but because they have a Primarch basically, they need their own codex. If I had to pick my favorite Traitor Legion, I would say it was Alpha Legion. Okay, let's just skip to the good stuff. I'll tell you how many pages until you get to the good stuff. Okay, it is 116 pages till you get to the rules, out of 167 pages. So quite a lot of fluff, but there's a lot of fluff to cover, just like the Space Marine Codex. Okay, so here's the usual opening page with keywords, a statement about keywords, about the Legion keyword, and so just like the Astartes. It says here at the bottom, Death Guard, Thousand Suns, and the Fallen deviate, and they do not use these rules, and they're going to have their own codexes. And then the Fallen, the rules for the Fallen is actually in this book, but do not fall under the Legion keyword. I don't even know why they have the Fallen. They should just get rid of that. Nobody's playing it. It's like useless. It's, yeah, whatever. I can understand why they have it now because of the fluff that happened in the last edition, but really, like, okay, so now they talk of Mark of Chaos. Mark of Chaos is when they dedicate Heretic Astartes units to one of 4 gods, and you have to dedicate it by giving a Mark of Chaos. Some datasheets specify the Mark of Chaos. For example, Karn the Betrayer is Korn, keyword. And then if not, then you can choose the mark. So this is not actually like a thing that you buy or anything. It's just a keyword, and then the keyword in there will say Korn or whatever. Okay, so someone could be Black Legion and Korn, for example. You don't have to have a mark of chaos if you don't want to. It assumes the unit is not dedicated itself. But certain legions have to have certain marks. Okay, so we know that some of the traitor legions are dedicated to certain gods. Okay, so these are the Chaos Space Marine abilities, which everybody knows already. So Death to the False Emperor. If you roll a 6+ on a hit roll in fight phase, you get an extra attack. Right, so that's decent. It's not great, but decent, and it's even better for things like Korn Berserkers. And then they have demonic rituals. So the demonic ritual is the summoning, okay? And summoning, just like in the index, is changed. Any chaos character can summon. Doesn't have to be a psyker. And you have to do it at the end of your movement phase, and you cannot have moved. So it's instead of moving, all right? And then you perform the ritual. You just say, I'm going to summon. And then you have to choose a god that's aligned with your mark of chaos or your patron. So if you're Karn the Betrayer, you can summon Korn stuff, okay? And Karn the Betrayer can summon because he's a chaos character. And what you do is you roll 3 dice, or up to 3 dice, and you have to roll equal to or greater than the power rating of the unit that you are trying to summon. And then if you do that and you're successful, then the unit can appear anywhere within 12 inches of the character and more than 9 inches from the enemy. If you roll any doubles, you get a mortal wound. If you roll triples, you suffer D3 mortal wounds. So it's not too bad. You might suffer a mortal wound in there. And you can summon anything that has the special rule, demonic ritual. So horrors have the special rule there, demonic rituals. That means these people can be summoned. Okay. Here's the list of war gear options. Alright, we're going to go straight into it and look at profiles. I'm not going to spend too much time on these things, but I'll try and point out any obvious changes. So Abaddon the Despoiler has gone down of power. I think he's otherwise unchanged. Yep. Oh, some of his rules have changed. So let's see. He has the War Master. If you're Battleforged, you get 2 additional command points. That was not a rule that he had in the index. Nope. So now you get extra 2 command points for using Abaddon, which is cool. Dark Destiny, 4+ invuln, and having his damage. Yes, that was there already. Lord of the Black Legion, reroll failed hits for the Black Legion. Yep. Mark of Chaos, Ascendant, automatically pass morale. Yep. And Teleport Strike. Okay, so Abaddon got a little bit of a buff. Not only is his power lower, but now he gives you 2 command points, which is cool. And we'll look at his points afterwards. Huron Blackheart. So next we have Fabius Bile. Let's find Fabius Bile here. Alright. Fabius Bile, of course, is the famous Emperor's Children apothecary who was kind of messing with Fulgrim and stuff like that. But notice that he is no longer Emperor's Children. He is just a Chaos Heretic character. So anybody can take Fabius Bile. I didn't know that he had a model, but there it is. It's very cool. Okay, so Fabius Bile is here. Here's Karn. Let's see if anything has changed for Karn. Just trying to find Karn here in the index. I think he might be at the end. World Eaters, yeah. Oh, Reggie. Chaos Cat Reggie, he's back. The Chaos Cat Reggie. He's come to cause chaos. Okay, so Karn the Betrayer is now cheaper by power. He's now 8 power instead of 9. But I think his stats are the same, yes. His weapons are the same, yes. And Yeah, he's got the same rules. So let's see what happens to his points, but Karn the Betrayer is a little bit cheaper points-wise. Lucius the Eternal is here. Cypher. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Cypher in the fluff. You see Cypher's little decoration here is different from the other characters. But anyway, so we'll see if he what happens to him in the fluff. He'll probably come back in the fluff in the Dark Angels Codex, but we'll see. Because yeah, but you know, he's not great. He's got these cool pistols, and of course, pistols are useful if you're in combat. But yeah. Okay, so we'll keep going. Here's the Fallen. Huron Blackheart. Demon Prince. Alright, let's talk about Demon Princes for a second. Because Demon Princes are something that people are spamming these days. So let's have a look at the Demon Princes. Alright, Demon Princes have gone down from 10 power to 8 power. Their statistics are the same. Weapons are the same. And yeah, everything else seems the same. Okay, so they've just gone down in power, so I wonder if they went down in points as well. Otherwise, the same. Chaos Lord, so you notice now you cannot get Chaos Lord on Juggernauts and bikes and things like that. Just like in the Codex Space Marines, you lost the profiles for those models that you had to convert yourself. Same with Sorcerer. So you lost the Codex, the Sorcerer on bikes and stuff like that. It's the Dark Apostle. Who's kind of like the Chaplain. And then you have the Champion here, who's like the Space Marine Champions. And you have the Warpsmiths, who are the Tech Marines. The interesting thing about the Tech Marine, or the Warpsmith, it can repair, and it can also pick an enemy vehicle within 18 inches, and on a 2+, that vehicle suffers a mortal wound. And it can only be done once per turn, so it can also damage vehicles by looking at them, which is pretty cool. Okay, this is your basic Chaos Space Marine now, so it's 5 power. Basically exactly the same as a normal Space Marine. They have the same weapons. Yeah, basically exactly the same as a Space Marine. We'll see if the price is the same, but yeah. And Cultists. So Cultists are a little bit better than Conscripts in terms of weapon skill, ballistic skill. Still just 1 wound, toughness 3, 1 attack with a 5 leadership, 6+ save, so not that much better. The auto gun is basically the same as the las gun. Yeah. There they are, Chaos Cultists. And so the interesting change here is that the lesser demons, so Bloodletters, Plague Bearers, Demonettes, and Horrors are in the Chaos Space Marine Codex as troop choices. I believe Bloodletters have gone down in power. Let's check. And you're wondering, why am I looking at the power? Because you summon these guys based on their power. So if their power went down, they're easier to summon. Yes, so Bloodletters used to be 5 power, and now they're 4. Therefore, on a 3d6, or you can even choose to just roll 2d6 to decrease your chance of like paraling, these guys are easily summoned. at a power rating of 4, and for 20 of them it's a power rating of 8 on 3d6 is fairly reliable. So they've become a lot easier to summon, and they're a troop choice, Reggie. And of course, they did state that things that you summon do not have to have the same allegiance or keywords as your army, so it doesn't affect your army. So that's good. And Bloodletters are decent, so they're not that hard to kill, but they have their 5+ invuln like all demons. And if it charges or is charged, it gets +1 strength and attack, which makes it strength 5 and 2 attacks base, which is great. Their melee weapon is strength 4, so strength user -3 AP, 1 damage. And if they roll a 6+ on the wound, it's actually 2 damage instead of 1. So their swords are good. And if there's more than 20 of them, they get +1 to hit. So they're hitting on 2s. So, you know, these guys are good. Bloodletters are good. So if you add a bunch of these summoned in to like a bunch of Korn Berserkers, that'd be a pretty fun list to play. Okay, so horrors. Let's see what happened to horrors. This is what everybody wants to know. Horrors. Okay. Just trying to find it here. I don't see it. Here we go. Okay, so horrors are the same power. And I think they're exactly the same in terms of stats, so nobody changed the stats on these guys. Obviously their weapons and rules are all the same, I believe. I don't think anything has changed there. Okay, so one important thing they changed is that when they manifest Smite, if they contain less than 10 pink horrors, it only does 1 mortal wound instead of D3. So pink horror Smite has been nerfed. Okay, and then it says here, when manifesting or denying a psychic power, select a model in the unit. If a brimstone horror is selected, it is slain after the psychic power has been used. Okay, so every time you smite with a brimstone, it dies. Okay, that's unchanged from before. I'm not sure people have been playing it that way though, but it doesn't matter. You always have a billion brimstone horrors anyway. So far, the one change is that horrors over pink horrors have to have more than 10 pink horrors in order to smite D3, otherwise it just smite 1. And then we'll see what's happened to their points. I guess we'll do that now, since everybody's wondering what's happened to horrors points. We'll go here. Okay, so horrors have gone from okay, so blue horrors are 5 points still. Brimstones went from 2 points to 3 points. That's a 50% increase, but I'm not sure it's going to stop people from spamming them. And pink horrors went down from 10 points to 8 points. So there we go. They're the changes that people have been looking for Brimstone. Is that enough? I don't know. I guess we'll see. If we suddenly stop seeing them, then I guess it was enough, but I doubt it. I don't think that's going to stop people from taking Brimstone spam. Okay, so that's the horrors for you. We'll go on. Plague Bears and Demonettes. Demonettes are really good. I'm not sure why we don't see a lot of Sun Ash. Maybe just nobody has the models. But Demonettes are really good. Base 2 attacks, 3 for the Allurus. Hitting on 3s, they can move 7. They have a -1 damage weapon, which does AP 4 on a 6+. 5+ invuln. They get an extra attack when they have 20 or more models, and they always fight first, like all Slanesh. Yeah, I don't know. They seem pretty good. I think actually Bloodletters seem better now, but yeah. Alright, Korn Berserkers. Apparently the winners in this codex are the Korn Berserkers. So here we go. Let me just see if they've changed at all, but I don't think that they have. They're just good. So yeah, so they're the same power cost anyway. And yeah, so it's not really changed. But they're just good because of the new Korn Legion traits, which we'll come to in a second. But there we go. Korn Berserkers get to attack twice every time they fight, which is good. Rubric Marines. So what's interesting is they have Rubric Marines in here, but then there's going to be 1,000 Suns Codex. So that's a little bit weird, but yeah, it is what it is, I guess. So I think they're just adding in these choices for people to use, and you can use them in your Chaos Army. Same with this. So Death Guard Codex will probably have Plague Marines in it, but there's also Plague Marines here. And Noise Marines, which are of course the Emperor's Children Marines, but of course they're here as a basic elite choice that you can take in any legion. So it's a little bit weird. So you can take Plague Marines in any legion. Same with the same with those guys. So it's a little bit weird. Here, Chosen. And Mutilators. So the problem with Mutilators is they have this flesh metal weapon thing, which is kind of random. So when you fight, you roll D3 and one after the other. For that fight, the first roll is, you roll 3d3 one after the first roll is the strength, the second roll is the AP, and the third roll is the damage. So you'd be strength plus 1, strength plus added to the strength, okay, AP, whatever, and damage 2. So, you know, that's okay, but, they're already strength 5, so, but it's just kind of random. Okay, Chaos Terminators, I don't think are any better than Marine Terminators, and probably overcosted and possessed. I don't think I've ever seen a possessed on the table. The Hellbrute, which is kind of the Chaos Dreadnought. It's basically the same as a normal Dreadnought in terms of stats. It's got one extra. Strength 6, toughness 7. Has a lot of the similar weapons. The only thing that's different is it has the Reaper autocannon, which is heavy 4, 7, -1, 1. So not even as good as a normal autocannon. And it's got the usual fist and stuff like that. The Power Scourge looks good, +2 strength, so strength 8, -2, 2, and it makes 3 additional attacks with this weapon, so it makes 7 attacks. That's okay. That's not too bad. And at the end of any phase in which it suffers unsaved wound or mortal wound on a 6 model, immediately makes a shooting attack or a fight attack, which is great. Okay, that's the Hellbrute. Chaos Bikers. Pretty much the same as everyone else's bikes. Chaos Spawn. Raptors. And Warp Talons. So Warp Talons are supposed to be pretty good. People are always talking about Warp Talons. So they have Marine stats. They can move 12, obviously, because they got jump packs. And they have Lightning Claws as standard. So strength 4, -2, 1 damage. So that's decent, and reroll wounds. So shred, basically. and if you give them 2 of them, you get an extra attack. So not too bad. And of course they can do jump back assault, which is called Warp Flame Strike. So there we go. There's no options for them to change their weapons, so they are just Lightning Claws, Lightning Claws. Havocs I think are like the Devastators. So they got Marine stats and yeah, heavy weapon stuff. So yeah, I don't think there's no better than Devastators, except that Legion traits and Mark of Chaos stuff, basically. And Obliterators. So it's interesting. So they gotten rid of the thing. I don't know if this is just for the Codex or also in the Index. I think it's probably in the Index as well. Let's see if I can find it. Obliterators. Okay, so I seem to recall, yeah, so it's the same, but I seem to recall that in the last edition you just rotated between different weapons, like actual weapons, and now it's just this kind of variable strength, AP, and damage. So it's kind of like the Mutilators. Land Raider, basically the same. The Defiler. I feel like these guys should be good, but when I've played against them, they've not been. I mean, they're okay, but yeah. Forge Fiend. And the Mauler Fiend. So Mauler Fiend I think is decent. 12 wounds, toughness 7. It's got 6 attacks at 4 attacks at strength 6 at full strength, and then every time it attacks, it makes 6 extra attacks with these lasher tendrils, which is strength 6 minus 2, 2. So that's good. So it actually gets 10 attacks, 6 with the cutter or the fists. And that's a pistol, so 6 with these fists, which are strong, obviously, like Dreadnought, strong, and then 6 extra attacks with these tendrils, so that's pretty decent. And it heals and has inbounds, so you know these guys are not bad. I hope we see some Mauler Fiends again. 6 extra attacks is nothing to sneeze at. Vindicator, which is probably just as bad as the Space Marine Vindicator. And the Chaos Predator, which is probably exactly the same. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, it's exactly the same. You can just take these Havoc launchers, which are basically 48-inch D6 501. And the Predator autocannon, which does 3 damage and 2d3 shots. Cool. And the Rhino, which is the same. Can take a Havoc launcher. Okay, Helldrake. Helldrake is always good. 30-inch move is just always good, and it still attacks at 4 damage. Weapon skill does deteriorate though, but original hits at 3+. Bale Flamer is good. 18-inch 6 minus 2 2 Flamer basically, which is awesome. And the claws are not bad. Strength 7 minus 1 D3 damage. So it's a nasty unit. Helldrake's. Every time I played against it, it's always nasty. The Lord of Skulls. Here we go. I've yet to see one of these. I hope I see one at some point. Somebody's got to bring one out. I think Phil has one. Maybe he's going to bring it over one day and we can play against it. Okay, here's the Armory. I don't think anything has changed, so I'll just let you have a look at it. Alright, let's look at these icons. So certain things can take icons. So like all the demonettes, for example, and so all the lesser demons. So Icon of Wrath, reroll failed charges, not bad. Icon of Flame for Tzeentch. At the start of your psychic phase, roll a d6 for each unit with the Icon of Flame on a 6 and inflicts a mortal wound to the closest enemy. And Icon Despair, the Nurgle units. Enemy units within 6, subtract 1 from the leadership. Slanesh, Death to the False Emperor ability takes effect on a 5+. Oh, that's pretty good. Too bad Slanesh and not Korn. And Icon of Vengeance, cannot be taken by Korn, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slanesh. Add 1 to the leadership. Okay. So I guess that's for like the unmarked units. Okay, let's go look at the points before we get into all the artifacts and stuff. So, like before, we're going to go through all the points. Unfortunately, it's kind of organized a little bit differently from the index, but I think we'll manage. Okay, here we go. So we'll tell you what changed and where. We'll just go down. So cultists went from 5 points to 4 points, so a little bit more spammable. Bikers went from 31 to 25, which is similar, I think, to what happened with the Space Marine Bikers. The Chaos Lord and Terminator armor went down from 122 to 105, which is similar, I think, to HQs in the Space Marine Codex. Same with the Chaos Lord on bike. Yeah, so of course the biker guys are gone, and the Chaos Lord on Tzeentch is gone, and the Juggernaut and the Palanquin, all those are gone. Slanesh, yeah, all those are gone. Jump back Chaos Lord is the same. Chaos Predator went down to 90 from 102, same as the Space Marine one. Yep. Vindicator went down to 135 from 160, same as the Space Marine one. Defiler went down from 216 to 152. Wow, that's a big drop for the Defiler. A 50-point drop, more than 50-point drop for the Defiler. Wow, that's 60-point drop, 64-point drop. Wow, that's a crazy drop. Exalted Sorcerer is no longer in the new book. Fallen, yep. Fitted Bloat Drone is going to be in the Death Guard Codex, of course. The Forge Fiend, Havix, Hellbrute, Helldrake. So the Lord of Skulls dropped 100 points from 465 to 365. Which makes it the same price as an expensive Land Raider, basically. So, you know, I think it's worth trying. Of course, there's none of these Death Guard things in here anymore. Mauler Fiend went down 9 points, so not a huge drop, but a drop nonetheless. Mutilators went down from 65 to 50. Noise Marines went down a point to 15. Obliterators are the same price. Plague Marines went down 2 points to 19 points. Possessor the same. Raptors 17 points. Rubric Marines 18 points. And you get a free Sorcerer now, so it's no longer a 12-point upgrade to have the Sorcerer. For your Rubric Marines, it's just 18 points straight up. Sorcerer, Self-Sorcerer, Terminator, Armor. Of course, no bike stuff. No Zangors, of course, that's going to be in the Thousand Suns. Warp Talons, and the Warp Smith went from 78 to 45, just like the Tech Marine. Got the big discount. Okay, characters. Abaddon went down from 253 to 240, and you get the free command points with him, so he's a buff. Ahriman, obviously Thousand Suns. Cypher is the same. Fabius Balance the same. Karn the Betrayer. Karn the Betrayer went from 173 to 160, which is awesome. Lucius. Okay, and Magnus and Typhus obviously have their own codexes. Go over the demons. Okay, so obviously none of the demons, they're going to get their own codex, I presume. But so we'll talk about these lesser demons, which of course are in this book now. Where are the lesser demons? Yeah, so horrors. So we know what the horrors did already. So again, Brimstones went up to 3 points, and Pincors went down to 8 points from 10. Plague Bearers went down from 8 to 7, and Bloodletters went from 9 to 7, which makes them even awesomer. And Demonettes went from 9 to 7 again. So all the demons got cheaper except for Brimstones. Okay, here's the weapon costs. And tactical objectives. All right, now we'll get to the good stuff. We're going to talk about the special rules here. And so anyway, it talks again about the Thousand Suns and the Death Guard and the various legions. And so now they have special rules. So Despoilers of the Galaxy is basically OBSEC for Chaos Space Marines, and I suspect everybody is getting OBSEC. All troops for all factions will have OBSEC, and then everybody will be motivated to bring more troops. I suspect that's what they're doing, but so far everybody, including Grey Knights and Space Marines, have OBSEC, so this is the Chaos version. The Legion traits, which are their chapter tactics, again applies to just infantry, bikers, and hellbrutes or dreadnoughts. So same as in the Space Marines Codex. And shadowy allies, so inclusion of Fabius Bile or Fallen does not prevent other units in the detachment from gaining a Legion trait. So they don't themselves have a Legion trait, but you can just put them into any Legion without ruining your detachment. So we're going to talk about these Legion traits. They have been leaked already, but here they are. So the Black Legion gets Black Crusaders. Add 1 to leadership characteristic, and if a unit with this trait advanced, it treats all its rapid fire weapons as assault weapons until the end of the turn. So therefore, a rapid fire 2 is treated as an assault 2. So you can shoot it, but you get a -1 to hit. So, I mean, that's okay, but you know, it's not stellar. It's not an Ultramarines, that's for sure. Next, Iron Warriors are Siege Lords. So enemy units attacked by units with this trait do not gain any bonus, so cover and reroll failed wounds against buildings. So the Iron Warriors basically is the same as the Imperial Fists. Sorry, my daughter reading the Grey Knights Codex over there. So, Renegade chapters, Dark Raiders, so you can advance and charge in the same turn. So that's decent just for the Renegades, which is like a mishmash of everything that's not one of the other legions, is the Renegades. Advance and charge, that's decent. World Eaters, Butcher's Nails. A unit makes a successful charge, you can make 1 additional attack with each of its models in the subsequent fight phase, which is awesome. They can already fight twice, and now each one makes an extra attack. So I think they got up to 4 attacks now, because I think they have 2 base, and then they have chainswords, that's 3, and then this trait, so that's 4 attacks base on Berserkers, and they're fighting twice. So that's really, really good. Berserkers are scary. Night Lords. So Night Lords get Terror Tactics. So -1 leadership characteristic from each unit with this trait that's within 6 inches of theirs, to a maximum of -3. So that, you could make a whole army build around leadership modifications. There's lots of things in this book that give you -1 leadership, and that will stack with this, which stacks 3 times, and literally you just have to kill 1 model and the people are going to be losing models on morale. So that's decent. I really like that, and I like the flavor of that being Night Lords. Emperor's Children, Flawless Protection. Units with this trait always fight first, so they basically have Slanesh. So they basically have the Slanesh rules as their Legion trait. Alpha Legion, Hidden in Plain Sight, so they get -1 to hit them if this trait is within more than 12 inches away. So this is basically Raven Guard, but for Chaos. And Word Bearers, Profane Zeal. Reroll fail morale tests. Okay, well, yeah. I guess that's there. They shall know no fear. Okay, so those are the Legion traits. I think the winners here are the World Eaters for sure, and I really like the Night Lords ones, but I think you really have to kind of build around that to make it maximally effective. It's still pretty effective if you're like -3. Yeah, and obviously Alpha Legion with the -1 to hit is pretty good. So here are the stratagems. Again, like in the Space Marine Codex, there's 3 pages of stratagems. We're just going to highlight some of them. Okay, a lot of these are just the same Chaos versions of the Space Marine ones. So the one about making your bolters do mortal wounds, Reggie. And then the one where you can take an artifact or their version of relic basically for 1 point, or take extra ones for extra CP. This one gives you a mark if you don't have one. And this is the Chaos Boon. So no longer is your character automatically transformed into a useless spawn. Now at the end of the fight phase, if you character killed another character, vehicle, or monster, you can spend 1 CP and randomize your boon. If you roll a Snake Eyes, you turn into a spawn. But otherwise, the rest of these are good. Add range to your weapon, add range to your move, add strength, toughness, wounds, add attacks. Choose if you want to become a demon or a spawn. -1 to hit against you in the fight phase, +1 to all your saving throws. And finally turn you into a demon prince. So this is really good. Just don't Snake Eyes it. And you use that for a CP, and you can choose if you want to do it or not. And boons last for the rest of the battle, and you can't have the same boon twice. And if you turn into a spawn or demon prince, it does not cost you reinforcements points, which of course would have been really stupid. But yeah, so that's really good, the new Chaos Boon table. Alright, the next good one is Fury of Korn. This is for all Chaos Space Marines. And basically, at the end of your fight phase, for 3 CP, Korn infantry or biker unit can fight again. So for 3 CP, your Berserkers can go again, or Karn can go again. It's expensive, 3 CP, but that's obviously got its uses. Similarly, for 2 CP, Chaos Space Marines with Slaanesh can shoot again with this stratagem, Endless Cacophony. So that's decent as well. You got a stratagem here, the Great Sorcerer, which lets any Tzeentch Psyker immediately manifest an additional power. Okay, and the rest of the stratagems are quite similar to the Space Marine ones. So this is the Mortal Wound Missile one. This lets you shoot twice if you don't move. This one is equivalent to the Raven Guard one, but for Alpha Legion, so it lets you redeploy basically. Reroll Summoning. This gives you a 6+ Feel No Pain for Iron Warriors. This one lets you deny if you're World Eaters, deny psychic powers. This one's -1 to hit for a Night Lord's unit. So just similar but equivalent to the Chaos ones. Let's look now at the Dark Hereticus Discipline. So Infernal Gaze they already had. Warp Charge 5, 18-inch on a roll 3 dice on a 4+, you suffer a mortal wound. Probably Hex is better. Smite is better than that. Death Hex, value 8. Enemy unit within 12 inches, they cannot take invuln saves, so it's kind of like Null Zone, except a little bit better because Null Zone is a circle around the Librarian, which is not that good. So model within 6 inches roll d6 if it's greater than their toughness to get d3 + 3 mortal wounds. If the character is slain, you can add a Chaos Spawn, which is pretty good, d3 + 3 mortal wounds. You have to roll a d6 higher than toughness. Marine characters are usually toughness 5 or 4. That's a decent chance to one-shot a character, and then you get a Chaos Spawn. That's pretty good. Warp Charge value of 6 only. That's pretty good. Prescience. So Prescience now 18 inches within 18 inches Warp Charge 7. Add 1 to all hit rolls. That's pretty good. And Diabolic Strength, unit within 12 inches, add 2 to strength and 1 to attack. That's very good. Give that to some Berserkers. And Warp Time, of course, the one that lets you immediately move again, which is also awesome power. And you also get a power determined by your mark. And so if you're Tzeentch, you get this one, which lets you add 1 to any invuln saves or get a 5+ invuln. So that's obviously good for giving Magnus a 3+ invuln rerolling 1s. Obnoxious. The Mark of Nurgle is Miasma of Pestilence. So Warp Charge 6. Your opponent subtracts 1 from all hit rolls against that unit. It's decent. And Slaanesh is Delightful Agonies. Roll a d6 each time a model in that unit loses a wound. 5+ Feel No Pain. So that's pretty good too. And Korn doesn't get one, obviously, because they don't believe in psychic powers. Alright, so the Relics is the same as the Space Marines one. You replace it for characters only, 1 per army, only 1 of each relic, and some of them replace existing weapons, which you have to pay for, but the relics are free. So let's see, Korn model only gets a Talisman of Burning Blood, allows you to advance in charge and reroll charge rolls. That's good, obviously, for Korn. Let's see, Pus Cleaver is a Nurgle extra strong power sword. The Axe of Blind Fury, now for Korn models, it replaces a power axe. And it's strength +3, -3, d3 damage. Pretty decent. Reroll or modify hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with that Black Fury. Or you cannot reroll or modify hit rolls of 1. Instead, these automatically hit friendly units within 1 inch. So that's like Karn's old weapon. So the Black Mace replaces a Power Maul. So you can no longer take Black Mace for your Demon Prince because they cannot be equipped with Power Mauls. And it gives you a strength +3, -2 AP, 2 damage. And then you roll a d6 each time a model is slain, and on a 6th, the unit suffers an additional mortal wound at the end of the phase, which is pretty okay. The Murder Sword replaces Power Swords. There it is. You select and nominate an enemy character to be the target. So this is like the anathema thing that hit Horus, the anatheme. And remember to tell your opponent which character you have nominated. Each attack made with the Murder Sword that hits that character automatically inflicts a mortal wound instead of normal damage. Very thematic. Yeah, and there's other stuff here. Word Bearers get a Crozius replacement that does more damage. And rerolls hits against Imperium. The Brass Collar for World Eater models. You can attempt to deny psychic power in each enemy phase. And if you do deny it, the Psyker suffers a Perils of the Warp. That's pretty cool. Blade of the Hydra. Claws of the Black Hunt. So for Night Lords, replaces 2 Lightning Claws, and you get +1 Strength, -3 AP, D3 damage. Increases your attacks by 1 and reroll failed wounds, which I think they already get. So there you go. So some good weapons there. Some useful relics. And finally, the Warlord Traits. So, Warlord Trait number 1, Eternal Vendetta. Reroll failed wound rolls for your Warlord against Adeptus Astartes. Okay, very limited application, I guess. Flames of Spite. Wound roll for a melee weapon attack made for your Warlord is 6+. It inflicts a mortal wound in addition. That's okay. Unholy Fortitude. Add 1 to the wounds characteristic, and you get a 6+ Funeral Pain. That's good. Reroll failed wound rolls of 1 for attacks. Yeah, but most of these, yeah, that's decent, I guess, if you don't have that already. Lord of Terror. The opposing player must roll an extra dice when making morale tests. That's okay. You add that onto your Night Lords thing, and they've got lots of things running. So that's decent if you're running a Night Lords leadership debuff kind of list. Exalted Champion. Add 1 to your Warlord's attacks. Give that to Karn. So these are specific Legion Warlord traits. You can pick a Legion Warlord trait from the list below, but only if your Warlord is from that Legion. So Alpha Legion, I'm Alfarius. So this is basically what they had at the end of 7th. If your Warlord is slain, you immediately select another character that becomes your Warlord, and you roll another trait. And the person doesn't get slayed Warlord till they killed them all, which is cool. Black Legion, first among traitors. Death to the False Emperor triggers on 5+ instead of 6+ for all models within 6 of your Warlord. Emperor's Children, stimulated by pain. Add 1 to Warlord's attacks to a max of, for each wound that he suffered, to a maximum of +3. If your Warlord heals any wounds, he loses the attacks. That's interesting. Iron Warriors, friendly pass morale tests. Okay, the Night Lords, once per battle, you can re-roll a single hit roll, wound roll, or damage roll, advance roll, charge roll, or saving throw. Slaughterborn for World Eaters. Add 1 to your Warlord's attack and strength characteristic each time he slays an enemy character, monster, or Titanic. That's pretty good for Karn because he's going to kill those things. And the Voice of Lorgar. Increase the range of any aura abilities by 3 inches. That's decent. And if one of your following named characters are in your Warlord, they must have the given associated Warlord trait shown below. And Cypher can never have a Warlord trait. Okay, so these guys have to have those Warlord traits. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of the Chaos Space Marines Codex read-through. I hope you enjoyed that, and do stay tuned for the Grey Knights one that will be hopefully coming up in a couple of days. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.